Hello, stamping friends. This is Jenny from Celebrate the Journey, but I'm joining you today on the Global Inspiration page. I hope you've had a great weekend or week watching our holiday presentations. I've really enjoyed them, and I hope you have too. So many fun things. Now, we're doing holidays for 12 days. Yesterday and today, though, are not a card. I struggled with this. I will tell you, it was hard. I wanted to make ornaments. I wanted to make an album. I wanted to make a candle decoration. I just couldn't decide what to do. But then I realized that not everybody celebrates Thanksgiving, but they do celebrate gratefulness no matter what time of the year. So I decided a fall project would be fun, and I made and we're going to make something I probably have not made in 15 years. It was all the rage, years ago to make these, and then I quit making them. So if you've been around a while, you've made them, and if you're new to paper crafting, you haven't made them. So we're going to make a post-it note desk holder. So I will tell you, this is my sample. I wasn't real happy with how close I got this here. So we'll make sure and move ours to a different farther apart. It's a little bit tight for me. But this will hold. These are like mini post-it notes, so it holds two, or it can hold one thicker post-it. It's probably not a post-it brand that's in my stash. We're using Amber Autumn. It's a nice little fallish themed stamp set. It can be used for Thanksgiving or just gratefulness. Or if somebody has a fall birthday, this would make a great birthday, masculine, fallish birthday card. So lots of choices. It does have coordinating dies. I can't wait to try this one. This is really the reason I bought this, is because of this die. If you noticed on the samples, they die cut it the foil paper, and I'm sure that in real life that's stunning. So be on the lookout for that when you're looking at card, maybe on your demonstrators page or on Pinterest. You'll see these. It has really pretty fall paper that goes with it. This is great for a masculine card, especially somebody that enjoys hunting or just being out in the woods. Look at those sweet little deer and the trees. I love the little foxes. And of course the back sides are usually more generic. So even after the holidays are over, you'll be able to make some stunning cards with those. I believe the colors are pecan pie, maybe Cajun craze. Let's see what it says. Early espresso, gray granite, which I forget we even have, and mossy meadow. So we're using Cajun craze and mossy meadow today. Now I will share quickly the measurements, but of course, when you purchase from your demonstrator over the next 2 weeks, I guess, since this is a 12-day, you will get the tutorial with everybody's measurements and products that they used. So we're going to start with just a regular 4 1/4 by 11 card base. It's nice that it takes a standard card base size because I tend to pre-cut card bases and have them ready for whenever I'm inspired to make a card. Now let me put all these extra pieces here to the side. Then we have a piece for the bottom so it can stand and become an easel. That's 4 by 4. You're going to score it at 1/2, 2, and 3 1/2. So you're really just making our little tent easel part. Good morning, Leanne and Vicki and Joy. It is early for us, isn't it? Earlier than I'm usually up, because we want this sturdy and to hold the Post-it notes, move it around on your desktop. We're going to use tear and tape. I still struggle wanting to call it score tape. Or do you remember when we had red tape? It had that plastic coating on it that stuck to everything. It was static cling. Times change and we get better products. Oh. I love being able to tear this, not have to get goo on my scissors. Of course, I'm not very good at measuring, but fall is my favorite time of the year, so anytime I can create things for fall, I'm happy. Now we're going to put this on the inside of our base here, and we'll line that up on the edge. Oops, not quite. This is 4, so you've got that 1/8 of an inch grace there on each side. It's hard for me to see color on color there. There we go. I think that's it. It's funny, I was cleaning out some drawers the other day, Joy, and I found some score tape. I even had, from back in the dark ages, so I am going to have to use that. I can't let that go to waste. Now, to get this lined up the same, we'll just flip this over. And now we don't have to worry about them being lined up correctly. So now our little card will stand up like TP, I guess. All right, our next part of the 3D image is going to be a pocket. That's what or a box, I guess. This is 4 1/2 by 5 1/2. On the 5 1/2 side, you're going to score at 2 1/2 and 3. So you just will have the bottom of your box there. So you just have a little 1/2-inch box bottom. On the 4.5-inch side, you're going to score it 1.5 and 4. Or you could just flip it over and do a 1/2 and a 1/2. So you just get another 1/2 inch on each side. Now, I have no idea if Post-it notes are universal sizes everywhere. So if yours are a different size, then just adjust accordingly, as long as you have the 1/2 for your top and bottom, and you can adjust the width of your box. And it's terrible. We call it Post-it notes, and actually there's so many different brands, but we do it anyway, don't we? Now we're going to fold our little flaps in. That's how we can create our box. So we'll put some tear and tape on here. See if I can do a little better measuring. I'm going to put a little more right there at the top. This has a little bit of static cling, but not too bad. Now we'll fold that over. Try to get it lined up pretty straight before we glue it down. So you could almost put a flap on that and have a little box for another project. So now we have our little box. We want to decorate the box. You have choices when you're making your own. You can use some DSP or cardstock, and I'm using the Mossy Meadow because I wanted the acorn and leaf to stand out a little more. And I'm going to emboss it with the birch wood embossing folder. Now, I think in our new, either in the catalog or the online exclusives, we have a fall leaves embossing folder that I absolutely missed. That would be pretty on here too, just to give it a little texture. So we'll run this through. Now this piece was 3 1/4 by 2 1/4. If you wanted to have another layer of DSP rather than this, you just adjust 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch down there. So we can add this, but we're going to put some ribbon on there first. So we want to be able to put a bow on our behind our stamped image, our little leaves and acorns. So we'll just put that on with some glue dots. Sometimes I have been known to just glue this down, but I don't always feel comfortable with it sticking. So I know a glue dot will always hold it. We can go ahead and glue that on there. I think I will make sure that's on there good. Okay, now we're about ready to finish this up and put it together, but we need our pretty little leaves and acorns. So we're going to stamp that on Very Vanilla using Memento. I practice with so many colors, and really I should have just paid attention to what was on the back of the designer series paper, because that's what I ended up with. Calypso. I did not choose Cajun Craze though. I chose Calypso Coral because Cajun Craze was just a bit too dark. So you never know. That's why it's good to kind of experiment. Now you can see our little, here, the leaves have a little bit of red still left on them, and then the acorns are there. And of course it said Mossy Meadow, but guess what? Soft seafoam works better for this. So that's what we're going to use, some soft seafoam. And we'll just color our oak leaves, leaving the tips a little uncolored so that we can add the little pink red. Our leaves are slowly turning. I think just a couple more weeks and everything will be beautiful. It's kind of good. This can be real sketchy coloring. You don't have to be a professional blender on this one. We'll just add a little dark in the center part and then blend it out. Love not having to worry about it being perfect. Now we'll add a little Calypso coral to the tips. I know that looks weird, but it's going to look better in a minute because we're going to blend it in. So when you take a blender and drag that down, it kind of gives it a dirty pink color, dirty red there. I was just real thinking, this is probably the first card thing I've made in a while that doesn't have Wink of Stella on it. But I guess we could put that on there if we wanted to. I always like glitter. Okay. So there are our leaves. Looks like I could put a little bit right there. This also, when you look at, I don't know, you can't copy DSP. It has a little bit of green on the caps of the acorns. So we'll add that. Add some light pecan pie. And again, this is just kind of just barely filling that in. And now we're ready for our Calypso coral. I'm going to start with light. I think this is one of the markers I use the very most, and I replace it the most often. And we'll add some darker on the sides there. And we'll blend that in. When you were little, did you take acorn caps and put them on your fingers and make little puppets? We used to do that all the time. And that's got a little bleed on it, but I bet when we cut it out, it's not going to show too much. And we can always get the eraser pen after it. If I can line this up. Okay, there, run that through. This would definitely work with the mini cut and emboss. think I'm just going to let that, I don't know, let me go get the picker-upper color. What that's called. Color lifter. I don't use it very often, but see if we can't lighten that up a little bit. But it's not going to bother me too much. Okay, now we're ready to put everything together here. So we'll treat this just like it's a card base. So our next layer is 4 by 5 1/4 of Mossy Meadow. Well, hello Sharon, thanks for popping in this morning. Then our next layer is the DSP. This is 3 3/4 by 5, I believe. Let's see. Yep. We get so used to using the same measurements, we don't pay much attention. I'm using a little more glue than usual on the inside because this does have to carry the weight of the Post-it note box. So we don't want it to get loose feeling. Okay, for the part at the top, this is 3 3/4. I started with this 1/2 inch, but I'm thinking I like the smaller 1/4 inch. So we will probably switch to that, and we'll stamp our sentiment with Mossy Meadow, and it says Autumn Wishes. Now, of course, if you want this to be for another occasion, you just change out the sentiment. This is a nice project because it doesn't take a whole lot of supplies. You can use products you already own. You don't need a lot of ribbon, bling, or anything like that. This is Timeless Label. Sorry, forgot to mention that. And we will go ahead and put this up at the top. You could get fancier and put ribbon up there for this, but I think just to help this stand out from the DSP, we're good with that. I'm going to put that on with dimensionals. Especially if you don't want, if you're giving these as a gift, you're making more than one, you don't want to put a whole bunch of expensive products in it. It's really the love that goes in it that counts, isn't it? Now we can put our little box on, and we will again use tear and tape because we want it to be strong. Don't like your projects to fall apart. We'll make sure that's on there tight. Now, I think, I told you I wasn't happy with where I put my pocket before. I think it's because I didn't adjust for the Post-it note space. So I'm going to put that there so I'll know exactly how much space I need. And I'm also going to add a little Tombow glue here. We want to make sure this is secure. Since we've got that tape on there, we have to be kind of careful with lining it up, because once it's down, it's going to be there forever, isn't it? Now that's much better. See, it needed that space. So my suggestion is put those Post-it notes in there first before you glue that down. Now we'll rub this down one more time. And we'll put our leaves and acorns on there. Pop those up with some dimensionals. And then we'll put a little faux bow on here. Twine linen thread would also look real pretty with this. If you're like me, though, I need to use my ribbon. I don't use it as much as I use as I could or should. Now, I really think some pretty embellishments on here would dress this up, but I couldn't decide which ones to use, so I just left it plain. So now here's our Post-it note holder. Super cute, isn't it? Well, Leanne made table name holders. I guess that's what you call it, this morning. And I thought, you know, if you wanted to do this as if you were just having 2 or 3 people over for a luncheon or something, you could let this be part of their gift, put their party favor, put their name on the back for the table setting holder, and then they still get to take Post-it note holder home with them. Because everybody would love to have something like that, wouldn't they? Okay, thanks for joining me today. I think Jackie is up next on the hour, so go grab another cup of coffee, settle in so you can watch her project, and then don't forget, place an order so you can get the tutorial with, it's not a tutorial, it's an inspiration sheet with our products and measurements and everything from 12 days of holidays. Thanks for joining us today. Bye.